when we eat the fruit, when we receive the shade, or we take the wood from the tree, or we burn it as firewood, if we acknowledge the processes that gave rise to that beautiful abundance that we are experiencing, what are we full of? We're full of gratitude. You think like, wow, even if a human being didn't plant this, a bird ate something and flew and pooped, and then we've got a seed in the ground, and against all odds, it's managed to survive out of all of the other trees, and it's endured bushfires and drought and floods. And here is this tree offering me, in my case, wood. I'm fixated on wood. I'm doing a fair bit of woodworking at the moment, and I think, wow, this unique, precious gift of a material for me to be able to fashion into something, or keep myself busy in the shed for a few hours at least. So it creates gratitude when we recognize the immensity of the cycle that gives us. Hi, I'm David Wegman. I'm the founder of Kailash Ashram. We are a traditional meditation and yoga retreat center in the Aussie outback. I'm a sniper turned meditator and yogin, and on this channel we love to share uplifting, soulful messages to help you reconnect to what's important, your soul. Tonight's sharing is based on our reading of Samarpan of the Himalayas, an autobiography of my guru, Swami Shivkrupanand. This is a real spiritual classic, very accessible. We've got links in the description if you want to follow along with us. Otherwise, just feel free to enjoy the spiritual messages as shared by me based on Swamiji's teachings. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Para Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Well, to that great almighty uniting soul, may that be present, may that guide us, may that give us the capacity to create, sustain, and dissolve what needs dissolving, creating, and sustaining in our lives. We continue with Samarpan of the Himalaya, Swamiji's autobiography. But first, some housekeeping. Next week we are hosting a retreat, the Soul Retreat. So we've had a good 2 months off really since the last one. We're very, very excited. We've got a full house, both of volunteers and of participants. So send some prayers this way. And certainly if you feel the call, I think we're down to our last couple of spots for August. So if you know anyone who's interested in getting involved in this stuff, the Soul Retreat's always the best place to start. So let me pull up my notes. So Swamiji's journey continues, and we'll see how far we get with what I share. We've given you 10 pages, but I think there's enough in the first 5 pages to digest for a lifetime. So let's tackle that. We'll see what comes up. And, if we deal with the back 5 pages in next week, so be it. When I'm reading, I've got this feeling of like, man, I really don't want to shortchange you and skip past some really juicy sort of lines and sections that speak, volumes about what this path is about. So Swamiji talks about being one with nature, and when we are one with nature, not being able to discriminate. And it's when we take ourselves away from I'll backpedal a little bit. I think that there is a bit of a false dichotomy between nature that we think about in terms of the green organic matter and things that are not nature, like, a building is not nature, but somehow, a green tree is nature. So, let's pull the thread on some of these ideas. A rock, is a rock nature or is it not nature? Concrete. What is concrete composed of? Portland cement, rock, sand, water. Has the nature changed just because the form, the appearance has changed? No. So what I think Swamiji is doing, or what I hear when he shares about these sorts of ideas of a oneness with nature, and well, what does he actually do? He starts to describe what happens in that state when we are one with nature. You know, you hear this idea to be one with nature. How could you technically be anything other than what you are yourself, which is natural? You know, you were not created through an imposition. You arose through a natural process of growth. It wasn't a mental imposition. So, but I digress. When we're in that state of one with nature, we can't discriminate. What is discrimination? Now, there is a sense that discrimination in the modern usage of the word is a very taboo thing. You know, we can't discriminate. We can't treat somebody. What people use it colloquially in the kind of modern sense, discrimination upon an innate characteristic. So to treat someone differently because of the color of their skin would be a sense of unfair discrimination. But to discriminate is actually a function of the mind. It's something that on the path of Vedanta that we endeavor to cultivate. It's called vivek. It's discernment. And it is the capacity that we have to separate the wheat from the chaff, from the things that are useful and not so useful, from the things that are real versus imaginary or unreal. And so before we are one with nature, we must cultivate the power of discernment in the mind. What is the ultimate thing that we need to discern? Well, the little hint is given in the meditation that we have given you. I am a holy soul, I'm a pure soul. That little soul mantra helps us to discern between what is our real nature and what is not our nature. Notice that we are not sitting down and saying, I am a holy body, I am a pure body, or I am a holy mind, I am a pure mind. No, we were saying that the soul has a nature, and the nature of the soul is purity and holiness, and that we are that. So when we align ourselves with nature, what we are doing is anchoring ourselves in our true nature. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to go and be surrounded by trees, though those settings, given the long evolutionary pressure that they have had on human beings, millions of years we've spent in uninhabited, wild settings. When we go and spend time in those places, what is happening to our chitta? What is happening to our awareness? It is in a place where we feel at home, where our ancestors, all of those creatures who kept us alive in the trees, on the plains, fighting for survival, we feel at peace in some sense there, I think on a very deep unconscious level. Now, we flip it around into modernity, and most people are very biased towards what their body has experienced in this one lifetime, which is probably, for the majority of us, mostly being inside buildings. And what does it do when we are surrounded by man-made things, human being-made stuff? We get busy, we get distracted. It's all very comfortable and nice and good, and I certainly appreciate my comfort after my time in the army. But it's inherently disconnecting. I went outside to answer nature's call before the session here, and as I gazed up to the heavens, the stars on full display, it was a beautiful blue sky during the day here, just absolutely miraculous. And to stand even for a moment under the heavens ponders, or helps me ponder, or pushes me to ponder the greater mystery. A sense of unity, of like, holy moly, we are in the universe, we are consciousness, we are. It's just a building endeavor to be before a gigantic mountain, or to be embraced by a waterfall. These experiences give us a sense of oneness, of unity, of connection. And when we're in that state of connection, when we arrive at the place of unity, the discrimination disappears. There is no discerning of the mind. You're not comparing, well, this waterfall is not as good as the top 10 listed waterfall that I went to, some time ago. No, we are lost in a sense of awe. And so discernment, vivek, is one of the prerequisites for Vedantic inquiry. To really get this stuff, we need to cultivate a sharp mind. But to arrive at a place that Swamiji is talking about, we let go of the discernment. Interestingly, it is like the final layer of discernment where we are saying that I am the consciousness in which all of this exists, rather than any object unto itself, or the body or the mind. Default life, though, it is always going to try to tell us that we are body and mind. So this yogic path, you've got your work cut out for you if you're treading upon it, because there will be no shortage of things that are seeking to budge you from that profound realization. Swamiji goes on to talk about another favorite analogy of his, the seed, and in particular the journey of that seed growing and being tended to, in this case, by the gardener. So here he's obviously referring to the Guru. The Guru has planted this seed of something inside of Swamiji, and much like a small, you plant the avocado seed, or you do a little thing over the water, and then you plant it in the ground, and you get a little tree growing. The gardener tends to the seed with as much love as they tend to the young plant. Whether it bears fruit or not, they still offer that love, because they know the potential of what is inside of that seed for it to become a self-sustaining tree that doesn't need a gardener anymore. And so this is just a nice metaphor for what the Guru, remember the Guru can be our soul, or it could be the Guru figure like Swamiji here. But if we're not into that thing, we just take that the Guru is our own soul, the inner guiding principle, that aspect of our being. It's here to nurture us. It's in that motherly nurturing role. And interestingly, he talks about a sort of intergenerational sense of cooperation between the different, between the gardener and the trees and the people who they are planting the trees for. Why? Because somebody who is cultivating and tending to the tree might not be the person who benefits from what that tree brings. So what sort of spirit does this cultivate inside of us if we not only when we eat the fruit, when we receive the shade, or we take the wood from the tree, or we burn it as firewood, if we acknowledge the processes that gave rise to that beautiful abundance that we are experiencing, what are we full of? We're full of gratitude. You think like, wow, even if a human being didn't plant this, a bird ate something and flew and pooped, and then, we've got a seed in the ground, and against all odds, it's managed to survive out of all of the other trees, and it's endured bushfires and drought and floods. And here is this tree offering me, in my case, wood. I'm fixated on wood. I'm doing a fair bit of woodworking at the moment. And I think, wow, this unique, precious gift of a material for me to be able to fashion into something, or keep myself busy in the shed for a few hours at least. So it creates gratitude when we recognize the immensity of the cycle that gives us the experience right now. Even as a thought experiment, I can sit here and go, trying to get the iPad working like an old person now, and I'm like, the touch screen's not working so good. Bloody iPad thing. Oh, it's not an iPad, it's a Samsung, but whatever, you get the point. Instead, when I challenge myself and I go, wow, this device was created by thousands of people involved in so many different industries, from the people who did the research and the materials science, through to the person who delivered it, through to the people who run the internet that enables us to communicate with each other. Actually, like, the fact that there is a screen is bloody great. You know, if it's a bit dicky sometimes, so be it. That gratitude, oh, wow. You know, what a miracle before me. I certainly know that when I see that miracle before me in the small details, when I'm grateful for that miracle that is before me, you know, my life is better and I'm a more tolerable person to the other people around me. You know, my depression or my misery definitely doesn't see the awesomeness of other human beings' contributions. I know, I like, you know, something that my other guru, Raya, shares with me. You know, she shared with me many years ago that, you know, if you plant a tree, what you're saying is that you believe in the future. It's hard to plant a tree or own a plant, even a pot plant inside in a house, without believing that there is a future. And, you know, it really kind of, so much of my life was characterized by making the present moment as comfortable or pleasurable as possible. That the idea of sustaining a life outside of me, because, you know, I wanted it to live and, you know, brighten me up into the future as well. Like, it didn't occur to me, you know. And so it was Raya who really kind of whacked me with the metaphysical significance of even just keeping a pot plant. So, you know, if you notice someone that's depressed or not in a good way, you know, the gift of a plant is a really, it's a low entry point into keeping life alive. You know, I've killed a fair few plants and trees and whatnot in my time, and, you know, like, they don't burn in my consciousness like, you know, animals, for instance. If you don't, you know, do a good job of keeping an animal alive, it can be a bit traumatic. So maybe we start with the pot plants and, you know, move up to puppy dogs and kittens and all the rest of it. So Swamiji's time with his guru is coming to an end here, and that was not well received by Swamiji. It threw him into a bit of a funk. His whole world had become absorbed in that little picturesque mountain scene, and for him, the service at the feet of his guru. And what his guru was saying is that he was going to give up the body. So in the Indic traditions, a lot of the time, you know, people refer to someone when they die as leaving the body. Now, why is that? Because if you believe in a multi-reincarnating soul, then the transmigration of that soul to, you know, a different realm, and then the capacity for it to absorb back into a form when it needs, is this death when the body stops doing the bodily functions? Well, yes, there is a death of the body, but the guru was not the body. The guru was not the mind. The guru was the energy and consciousness permeating and inhabiting those bodies and minds, or body and mind. So the guru is going to give up his body, leave his body. And after doing what, though? After having given everything. And this is the prompt for us to do the same thing. Remember, the soul, Swamiji is not talking about anything that is unattainable for us, and it isn't designed to venerate him. It is designed to instruct us into how we can live as a soul. Now, what is that soulful existence? You know, accruing this inner knowledge, enriching ourselves, and then distributing everything, leaving nothing in the bank at the time we are gone. Now, I'm leaving money to our kids and whatnot, certainly, and good causes. The ashram, is a worthwhile thing to do. What we're talking about is the distribution of your own inner knowledge, the distribution of the wisdom that has emerged within us. Now, that might be in humble ways where the best distribution we offer is leading a very integrated, centered, wholesome life, if that's what our journey is. For some of us, the journey might be to distribute and give more than just ourselves as in alignment. We might be there giving dharma or giving teachings or giving support or professional guidance. That's all dependent upon our own unique karma and our dharma, whatever our righteous duty is to do in the world. But the goal as a soul is to give fully and to make sure that, when we take that final exhale, we're gone. There's no thing left undone. Otherwise, we're coming back around and then we suffer again. Swamiji talks of or mentions Guru Dakshina. Now, Guru Dakshina is a gift that is given to the Guru. And for many people, they think it's giving money to the Guru because that's one way that, you can support a Guru. How so? And why does a Guru need money? Well, the ancient Indic civilization required householders. It was a householder-led civilization. It wasn't a monastic civilization. There were a small section of people who were monks, much like there is today, a small section of people who feel that it is their moral and ethical duty to go very, very deep with these teachings, and they will renounce the world and join a monastic order. But who pays for all the temple stuff? Householders with jobs, with businesses who go and work and live their life and accrue money. And what do? They go to a temple or they come to a place of learning like an ashram to learn something, and then in exchange, out of the generosity of the spirit rather of the individual, there is a gift that is given. Much like we as Raya and I, as people who volunteer at the ashram to run the retreats, to do these sessions, we give. Like, we want to give, we put our money, we put our heart, we put our soul into this, we share. Not for the monetary reward, but so that at the time of our final exhalation, we can go, you know what, God, I gave it a good go, like there was a bit of selfish stuff smuggled in there. I'm honest about that, but I've given it a good nudge. And that's all that we can ask of ourselves. Now, how does somebody who is receiving that gift want to reciprocate? Well, some people will reciprocate by going and meditating. And that's the best gift that Swamiji has said that we should give him, is I don't need your money, go and do the thing. That's way more important. That's much more of a gift. When we do the yagya out here at the ashram, what is the gift that we give to Ganapati, to Ganesh? We give him our bad habit, we give him our vice, we give him the issue that we're struggling with. That's the gift that he really wants, not the red flower and the incense and the fire and the fruit and all of the tilak and the washing and the panchamrut and all of that stuff is nice. He really wants us to surrender what we need help with, and so too does the Guru. What happens when we give that gift? It creates selflessness. When we offer up something of value to us in service of something bigger than us, we fill ourselves with a charity of heart that carries on beyond that individual act. And there is a requirement, because without the gift receiving, without dakshina to the Guru, the work that the Guru needs to do cannot get done. Swamiji actually got really puritanical about this and was like, I don't want to deal with money. I don't want to deal with, taking money. He just purely volunteered, no donation. He wouldn't even accept donation when he was sharing for a number of years. And Sai Baba came to him, the great saint in whom city Raya and I met. In his city, so Sai Baba... sorry, my neighbour has just cranked the music and I'm like, it's Tuesday night. That's right. It must be his band practice. So Sai Baba appeared to Swamiji and said, hey, you need to start taking money because this work needs to grow. And it's not about you. Get off your own high horse. This is about them having the duty to give that money towards this cause. Stop denying them their contribution. And so I think it's interesting that it was kind of a subtle way where Swamiji's ego, his ego of not receiving the donation was still an ego, and Sai Baba came along to destroy that one and go, you're not, you think you're being holier than doing this, you're actually just not being so clever about the endeavor. He talks at length about the nice bridge analogy, how this body is actually the bridge, and that many of us are stuck on the bridge, and that it takes, well, what is the characteristic of somebody who is a guru, who is a guide? They are somebody who is just looking out and seeing us stuck poor souls on the bridge, who are like going, hey, this thing is designed to get you over to the other side, keep walking. And this kind of ties back into that original sense of oneness. Like, what do we do with that unity that this yoga, the meditation, can bring us to? Well, the best thing historically to do is turn around once you're on stable ground, turn around and find other people who are stuck on the bridge and give them a hand. Now, they may be a mind and a body, inhabiting the I'm stuck on the bridge game. Their true nature is as a soul. Their true nature is that they aren't stuck. Your true nature was that you were never stuck. Only the body and the mind believed themselves to be stuck. So when you help somebody from the place of knowing yourself as a soul versus identification with the body and the mind, you can actually liberate them and bring them across that bridge. If you believe that you're a body and a mind and you think that you're going to give people spiritual illumination, forget about it, because you're still stuck in the realm with them. Now, the beautiful thing about free will and the seductive game of life is that even if you know that you're a soul, the body and the mind can really, really, really be convincing and pull us back into bodily consciousness. Ask me. I whacked my ribs with a barbell yesterday, and I might have broken one. I don't think they're broken. I think I've bruised or stretched an intercostal. And here I am walking around, hobbling all day going, oh, I'm stuffed. I'm not going, oh, I'm a holy soul and this body that I am not is paining. No, the pain, pulls me back into the body and the identification with that very, very quickly. So, wow. What do I know what I'll be doing? I'll be meditating in the morning. I'll be reminding myself for the umpteenth time that I am not this body, I'm not this mind, I am the soul that gave rise to it. And as we stabilize our awareness in that place, the support that we give others is just that much better. He continues on with the talking of the fruit and the tree. And I mean, for those that have done the 4 yogas or paid attention when we've gone on about karma yoga, this is like literally renouncing the fruit. It's like a very literal teaching. We don't eat the fruit, or we don't need to eat the fruit of our own tree in order to benefit. The benefit is in creating something that sustains and gives to others. And again, it builds this charity of spirit inside of us. If we walk around thinking to ourselves, oh, wow, I reforested this part of the Grampians and now there are all these birds, and these birds owe something to me because, I have planted the tree in which they are now nesting. Very quickly it becomes, you become the government. You're like, hey, give me tax for staying in the tree, you bird. You're nothing without me, and it's like that leads to all of the kind of the mental games of ego and entitlement and control and politics, which thank God, I like to dabble in reading about, but being an active political person, much rather be an active spiritual person, helping you all get inspired to plant trees and do nice things. Swamiji's guru says that collectivity is your energy. The purpose of his life is collectivity. And I just thought I'd address what is collectivity. It's a kind of made up word, a little bit of a newish word. I think it's a bit of a Swamiji-ism. Collective and energy. So a collective of energies The collectivity is referred to inside of Swamiji's community as the community of people who are practicing the meditation. It's also what Swamiji refers to as the collective energies of his gurus that they have given him. Now, what are those energies? They can be subtle energies, things that occur in the mind, such as the teaching and the knowledges, the teaching and knowledge that flows through. The ideas could be conceived as a part of that collective energy. There could be, if you are open to it, the metaphysical or beyond the physical realm, like the capacity for these large currents of energy. It's very difficult for me to describe these sorts of experiences. How I kind of internally conceive of it is, if you start thinking of your 30 minutes of meditation as a donation, where you're giving away your time and energy just to whatever needs that at that time, and it's not about you, then when you're in the shit and you pray and you go, I need help, and you see literal mountains move and crazy situations arise and the help happens, what I think happens is all of those people who were offering that time, they sense that there was a fellow sister or brother in need, and suddenly all of that energy floods in and supports you. That's what I've experienced. Now, if you go in every day asking, what can the meditation do for me? What can being part of this collective energy give me? I want more, I want more. It's like you're kind of that roommate or that housemate that everyone's like, oh man, this person's a pain, like, see you later. If you're on Big Brother, you'd be voted out, or whatever, Survivor or one of those shows, you'd be like booted off because you were insufferable. But the person who is selfless, like the tree who just gives and gives and gives, and then when you're in that time of need, you ask for the help, watch out. That's when the collective energy comes in and the miracles start happening and minds get blown. But don't go looking for it. Don't go expecting it. Let it happen if it's got to happen to you. Certainly has happened for Raya and myself. Way too many times now. Not way too many, enough times to fully convince me that this is a real thing. A nice thing, he falls asleep and he's like, I mustn't have been ready to hear what the guru was saying, when I fell asleep. And so, sometimes when people are on retreats here and, they kind of nod off, or like they miss a session, or like something happens and they just can't be there for that one session. This is why you don't see any issue from Raya and I. We're like, it's okay. Because we know that knowledge that was coming through then wasn't necessarily for that person at that time, and that's okay. And where do we get that from? Reading what Swamiji talks about with his own experience, with his own guru. A nice one on the Guru Charan, the Guru's feet. We've got a set of padukas up here, Swamiji's sandals that have got his feet imprinted in sandalwood. It's like pretty confronting to the Western mind. And all of this talk of Swamiji massaging his Guru's feet, I suppose in the Christ washed beggars' feet and whatnot, it's a sign of humility and of service. But what I thought was really worth paying attention to is what Swamiji's guru said to him is like, I have no requirement for you to do this, but I can sense that it means something to you. So have at it, but it's for you. It's not for me. And that vibe carries right through with what Swamiji does. If devotees or if meditators want to become devotees, remember in India there is a strong devotional spirit that needs to be channeled somewhere. Like there's just an innate cultural devotion, and for many of meditators in India, Swamiji becomes the object of devotion, and they focus all their energy and heart and love on him as a practice of bhakti yoga, of devotional worship. And Swamiji's attitude is like, if you need to do that, I'll be the guy, but you're not doing it because I need you to do. He doesn't need anyone being devoted to him. And you really, really feel that around him. But he is happy to play the game and let the devotees do what they need. For what purpose? Well, when we bow down, when we devote ourselves to something, what is the center that we're activating? we're activating the heart space. What problem are we solving? We're solving the problem that we're not feeling the spirit. And this is one of the great secrets of Bhakti Yoga. If you're not feeling the spirit, you engage in devotion. It helps bring alive the emotion and the devotion. And with that, the feeling of the spirit comes alive. It pulls us out of the head into the heart. The other thing that it does when we devote ourselves, when we bow down at the lowest point of another human being, we're again diminishing the ego, which is the biggest impediment to our own growth, to our own progress upon the path. Obviously, Swamiji says that it doesn't matter what we surrender to, but we should surrender somewhere. And that's why, again, now you understand that Raya and I are just reiterating pretty much everything that Swamiji has taught us. When people come out here on the retreat and we say, if there's one thing you remember from the soul retreat, it's surrender. Same thing. That's what Swamiji goes on about, and for good effect, because that surrender opens us to the grace, and the grace is what enlightens us. Our work, our physical yoga practice, our mental yogic practice, meditative practice, prepare the body and the mind, but you cannot manually, artificially, through your effort, attain enlightenment. Pretty much this path is you do the preparatory work and you open to the grace descending. Because if enlightenment was correlated with your effort and work, then anybody could become enlightened with enough work. And if anybody could become enlightened through effort, then the thing that is driving the effort is calling the shots, which is ego. Ego is the required thing that propels us forward to make these effort. It is necessary. It is absolutely required that we show up and do the work. But the final opening, the final realization comes not through our effort. That one comes through the acceptance or the receiving of grace. You look at a saint or a fake saint who has done all of the stuff versus a genuine saint, and the level of humility inside of a real saint who has opened and received grace is something very, very different. You feel it, and if you don't feel it, don't worry. And if this is all a bit too much for a Tuesday night, forget about it for now. But just inside of your own path, don't feel that more effort is always what is required. Keep that small but vital knowledge that the jump between the brow center and the crown, this is where we open to grace. All of your yogic practice and meditation and reading and philosophy and memorization and mantra and yantra and tantra or whatever the stuff gets you up to here. This realm, leave it up to the absolute. So Swamiji, comes out of the jungle and attains or arrives at a village, and he describes talking about, and this is my absolute marketing genius at play right now, but he talks about watching these ladies preparing and doing some ritual inside of the village, and they're sitting in Vajrasan. Now, I know all of you were thinking, what does Vajrasan look like? Now, Vajrasan looks like this, where the feet are flat on the ground, and we sit like this. But that can be a bit uncomfortable. So, these are our newly made meditation stools. Oh man, that is glorious. And so you sit here in Vajrasan, just like Swamiji was watching of the villagers, and you get to sit on the meditation stool. It's all locked in, very supportive, spine is upright, and it is very, very comfortable. A lot of people in the Buddhist meditation community will sit on these benches, and we have finally succumbed. And this one is made with reclaimed messmate by me, by hand. And so if you are interested in meditation stools at all, we are now taking orders. So please DM us, reach out via text or whatever, and we'll let you know what things are. There is a fair bit of work involved and a bit of wood and whatnot. So they're a donation-based. So we're going to sell them, but all the proceeds will be going towards the ashram and supporting the whole endeavor. So we're going to build a little collection for in the yurt. So next time you're out here, you'll be able to sample one if you want, or if you just think that, this thing's heavy, like it's, 40 mil thick. I make them chunky and, you can kind of good self-defense weapon if you needed it to be as well. But very sacred little stools. We just feel that increasing the level of personal touch between you and your meditation helps you potentially feel as much love towards this tradition and what Swamiji has brought us as we do. I mean, like, I open my book and I have, a leaf from his ashram. It's all of these little things that, Raya's going to correct me on which leaf that was, but it's a beautiful, beautiful leaf that I pressed in the book, and all of the small parts that connect you to your journey and your soul. If this meditation has sort of taken root in your life, well, it's a very special part of one's life, certainly for us. And Raya and I are deeply humbled and appreciative that you take the time to listen to us and to, I presume it means that you derive some benefit from listening to us talk about what Swamiji's kind of shared with us for a number of years. But we really, truly hope that not for your adoration, but for your continued practice, and also whenever you feel the call to disseminate and get this stuff out there. God, the world needs it, and we'll always need it, and we will always need to be giving it too. So I've waffled on a little bit long, so I'm going to get you set up on the altar. Let me say some thanks. Oh, Olivia, great to see you as well. Georgie, Linda, Kirsten, Lucille, great to see you all. I'm going to say Jayat Meshwa, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Have a lovely meditation, and we'll see you next week. If this sharing has been useful for you, please consider hitting that like button and a subscribe if you want to hear more from us. Also, I would love for you to join me on a retreat at any stage. There's links in our description to get you started with meditation, as well as joining me on a retreat in the Grampians. Jayat Meshwa means victory to your soul as the divine. See ya.